Saturday, everyone. I think my mic, there we go. Happy Saturday, everyone. I want to welcome you to season two, episode two of the She Is Still Dope Vodcast. I'm your girl, csBailey, and I just want to say happy Saturday, everybody, right? I'm going to give everybody a few minutes to come on in. Because today's show is going to be super dope. So stop what you're doing and share this broadcast. Stop and like and share. We have so many surprises today, like just so many wonderful things going on. But you know what? Let me take care of some housekeeping rules before we get started. First and foremost, my name is csBailey. I'm the founder and president of the She Is Still Dope Network, the first global network created for purpose-driven women. We exist to inspire and empower women to find and live their purpose so that they can live their best life. As you know, or maybe you don't know, Monday through Saturday we provide content that will inspire and empower you. There's some really dope shows. I'm not even going to waste time going through them. Take your time and stop and follow. She Is Still Dope. And for those of you who don't know, we are now on Roku. She Is Still Dope is now on Roku. Please stop and add us on Roku. There we go. Stop and make sure you tell your friends and family to add us on Roku. You know, support. She Is Still Dope is now on Roku. So like I said, Monday through Saturday, we have programming that will encourage and inspire and just push you. Some really dope shows. So take a moment to stop and follow She Is Still Dope. I want to say hello, Sherry Lupton. Good to see you in the house. The other thing that I want to bring to your attention is that now we have, well, not now, we have global chapters. So if you want to start or join a chapter, email local chapters at sheisstilldope.com. So you heard me right. We have chapters in Uganda, in Atlanta, in Delaware, in Baltimore. I could keep going. You know what I mean? Like, let's do this. She Is Still Dope is spreading all over the world. Excuse me. I'm so excited. I got to calm down today. I have a very special guest. But if you have not, start or join a local chapter. Again, for more information, you can go to sheisstilldope.com and you'll find out all the good information there. The other thing that I want to share with you is next week, finally. I want you guys to pay attention because next week we'll be launching our new membership. She Is Still Dope this quarter, this year, the rest of this year, and just to come, we're going to be awesome content and courses and seminars and just things that are going to push you forward, right? This network is not about fluff and likes, and we really are trying to make an impact globally and push you to live your purpose, which ties in perfectly to today's topic. But with that said, next week we'll be announcing our new membership. It has been a little delayed. We've had a bunch of hiccups, but that's how life goes. Things don't happen the way you plan. You just keep moving. Nobody's perfect but God. Somebody tell you they're perfect, they're lying. But anyway, I'm not going to get spicy on you yet. So I'm just so happy to have you guys here. Welcome to the She Is Still Dope Vodcast. Yeah, Vodcast. Live with your girl, csBailey. What else did I want to say? I want to say thank you for all of the support. The launch of season two has been just absolutely amazing. I want to ask you to continue to pray for our network and the women who are part of She Is Still Dope Network. We have been facing tremendous obstacles and just so many things going on, you know, and to everyone that has lost someone this past week, and just in general. And I want you to know that we're praying with and for you. We love you. Just continue to trust God. For everyone who was impacted and affected by the disaster in Miami. As you know, I live in South Florida. That really hit close to home. So you know what? I'm going to transition right into today's topic because God told me like the world is crumbling. And when I thought about Miami and what happened here in Florida, that really made me start thinking about some things. And last week we were unable to do our Father's Day show because of some technical difficulties. So when I start really thinking about and just praying and asking God, seeking God, and asking him what he wanted me to talk about today, he talked to me really about living, to encourage you to live your purpose, right? You're here for a reason. And I think oftentimes we get caught up in things in materialistic things, right? And I came across a quote that really, really, really struck a nerve with me, and it says, "Legacy is not leaving something for people; it's leaving something in people." And when I thought about that, it really made me think about my father. And last week, I know you guys don't hear me talk about my father a lot, but last week was Father's Day, and I could not help but think about my dad just constantly. So you know what? Before I feel like I'm about to get into it. So before I get into it, let me bring on my very, very, very special guest, my other half. I told him I was going to say better half, but I'm going to say my other half because we truly are soulmates. And he is such a huge part of me, and I'm such a huge part of him. So without further ado, you know what? Let me just bring him on so we can start, getting this juicy episode going. So I want to, introduce. There we go. So you just come on in. Hey, honey. And for everybody who doesn't know, this is my sexy, amazing, wonderful, talented, intelligent other half, better half, Prate Bailey. Welcome, honey.
I don't know about better, but I'll take that. Thank you.
I don't know about better either, you know what I mean? But no, I'm just joking. Y'all know how we are. I'm so happy to have you on today. How you feeling?
I'm doing great. It's Saturday. It's a beautiful day outside. The rain didn't start yet, so I can't complain. Plus, don't nobody care either way.
Right. No, we don't care. No, I'm just joking. So you guys, I wanted to bring my husband on because when I start thinking about the power of legacy, whenever we talk about legacy, it makes us think about our father, right? It makes you think about your dad.
Yeah, all the time. He played a significant part in my entire life up until the point where he passed away. So, and still to this day, I hear things ringing in my head from, the wisdom that he shared with me throughout the course of my growing up and molded me into the man that I am today. So, yeah, it's always really poignant time during Father's Day. To reminisce and to think about all the gems and the jewels that he shared with me throughout the course of my life.
Yeah, I think Father's Day was too important to skip over. And I realized that it is not Father's Day today, but we wanted to really
it's
talk
Father's
about
Day every day.
It's Father's Day every day. And that's what we talked about is every day's Father's Day. And we talked about how no, our fathers didn't leave us a huge inheritance. You mean we're not rich? Everybody knows, like by the grace of God, this month we celebrated 21 years together. Not our wedding anniversary, but this is our 21st year together. So when we think about the values that were instilled in us, right? It was hustle. It was that work ethic, family first, all the things that we teach our children. We're very hard on our kids. We don't play no games. We're from the era where disrespect was not tolerated. So we don't allow our kids to be disrespectful or to talk to us any kind of way. You know what I mean? Sorry, I'm trying to get my mic to make sure you can hear me. But with that said, you know what? There's no way we could talk about moving forward and talk about legacy without honoring those, who come before us. So before we really get into it, we want to share with you guys just some images and pictures. I want to salute my grandparents and my father-in-law. So I just want to share with you guys some images here so you can see, so you have a picture and you know the people that we're about to talk about. So with that said, let's run the clip. This is my grandmother and grandfather, Adelaide and Bill, great grandmother and my great grandfather, Bill and Adelaide Roy. They had 18 children. So you talking about strength, like this is my foundation. So I wanted to salute and honor them today. This is my grandfather. Oh, it just makes me so emotional. My granddad Barry. This is my grandfather. He was a church deacon. And when I just say he was the kindest person, the kindest soul that you would ever meet. He just loved us so much. And I remember him coming over to the house. A lot of you guys who are in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania might remember him from the barbershop. He was a barber for many years on Market Street in Harrisburg. So this is my grandfather, Barry Daniels. And then this is my father. Who was just he was the life of the party. He was the heart of the community. He just took care of everybody. My dad was just such a great, great man. You see where I get the cheeks from. This is my father passed away quite some time ago, but it just feels like yesterday. My father was just such a strong man, and these are me and my brothers and sisters. Yeah, that's me with the big blowout there, that hot comb hair right there. So I'm the oldest of six children, but this is my father with the six of us. So my dad was just, we'll talk about that. We're going to get into it, but I just wanted you guys to be able to put a face with a name. And this is, of course, my father-in-law, Horace Bailey, who really, when my father passed and I met my husband 21 years ago, he became like my second father. He really was just an awesome and amazing man. So I just wanted to stop for a minute and share with you guys some images so that you would see, you could put a face, right? Put a face with a name. So I want to salute all of the people whose shoulders we stand on. I did not include my mother and my sister, and because I'm going to do and dedicate episodes to my grandmother and all of the people who passed recently in a later episode. So with that said, I just wanted you guys to be able to see our family and to be able to share with you where we come from and the shoulders that we stand on. So, honey, let's really dig into it. I believe, like, the biggest thing that the question that God told me to ask the people watching today, and I'm going to ask all you this question, and I really want you to think about this. Like, think really, really deeply about the question that I'm about to ask you. And if you don't know the answer, like, I want you to just start praying on it. But God told me to ask you, what type of legacy will you leave? What type of legacy will you leave? Right? So, sweetheart, when you think about leaving a legacy, right? And as I said in the beginning, a legacy is not about leaving stuff. It's not about leaving money, right? It's not what you leave. What to say? It's not leaving something for people. It's leaving something in people. What type of legacy do you hope to leave?
I think it's kind of twofold. I mean, you have to, part of the legacy that you want to leave is living the purpose that you feel like you are called to live. So, I mean, knowing what She Is So Dope is all about from an intimate perspective, as far as being kind of behind the scenes and working with Chaz. It's about, for me personally, my purpose is to create content that evokes emotion, that inspires people. Okay. So I went to school for radio, television, and film. It's always been, my desire to work in that industry. I have worked in telecommunications for 13 years after working for the state of PA. And I always gravitated towards technology and always worked in that realm. But it was always my side hustle that was about creating content. So whether it was, having a record label and managing artists, whether it was, wanting to shoot video or doing the short films. When we did the Philly Underground Music and Film Festival back in my God.
You're telling our age. Don't do that. Don't do that.
But anyway,
we're over 50.
We're
good for 50 though. Hey,
from writing and directing and producing and just kind of being a content creator before that was a term. That's always been part of the legacy that I wanted to leave, was to leave behind works that would motivate people and that would evoke emotion, regardless of what kind of emotion it is. It's just to make them feel something. Okay. But on the flip side, being a father and a husband and wanting to leave something that is tangible, as far as in my kids' lives, for me, it's about giving them the tools to be able to prosper and to take care of themselves and to be able to not want for anything, and sort of the whole motto of teaching them how to fish rather than just leaving them a bag of money. Because for me, it's my job to provide for them now, while they're under my roof and while they're young. But as they grow into adults, I want them to be able to learn the skills that they need to be able to survive and to thrive, on their own. So that's the legacy that I want to live from a high level perspective, for my children. Because to me, legacy is not necessarily always about other people. I've never been really one of those people that really care or gave a damn about what other people thought. That's not my thing. It's really about what I'm doing to provide and take care of my young ones and for my family, and what the kind of legacy I'm going to leave behind for them and for their kids.
Yeah. I think that it's important that, like, I talked about my grandfather Barry being a deacon, and the one thing that he really, I have to thank him. I would say my grandfather Barry and my godmother Evelyn Barry really showed me what the power of having a relationship with God looks like, and we try to instill and teach our children about faith and the importance of faith and trusting God. We call Dallas our prayer warrior, right? She's the prayer warrior. Dallas don't play no games. She let you know I am a God girl, But I think it's
She's a whole
important that
soul.
yeah, she is. When we talk about leaving a legacy, that we talk about the importance of instilling and planting those seeds. There's Apostle Dorsey. I had to stop just to say hello. Shout out, matter of fact, to everybody who's watching. I see Sister Veronica Dixon, who is on Wednesdays on She Is Still Dope. Kim Dorsey, shout out to you. I know that she buried one of her students today, you guys, so please pray with and for her. I see Apostle Ronette Martin Little. She'll be blessing us on Tuesdays. You guys don't want to miss that. She'll be coming on this Tuesday to stand in the gap for Apostle Roma Benjamin, who we're praying for. Shout out to everybody who took a moment to tune in today. But back to what I was saying about the importance of teaching your children about having a relationship and trusting God. We launched the God's Army initiative last season for She Is Still Dope, and made the pledge and asked women to make the pledge that, as for me and my house, will serve the Lord. That's exactly what we do in our household. As you guys know, we running She Is Still Dope is no small feat, but we do it as a family. We do it, as a unit. And I would not be able to run this network without my family. But it's not about the likes and how many views we get. It's really about teaching my children that what pure faith looks like. Like, as we talked about, we've lost a lot of people. We've showed you just a few of the people that we've lost. As you know, my mother, my grandmother, my sister, our son, our 14-year-old son passed from brain cancer, Malik, and he left an honorable legacy and taught us so much. We're going to talk about him in a future episode. But it's just really, it's so very, very important that exactly what Apostle Dorsey just typed is Proverbs 22:6, right? Is train up a child in the way that they should go, right? It's like we plant those seeds and they return to that. My godmother exposed me to the power of Jesus Christ when I was a very, very little girl growing up in public housing. And I never lost that. It always stayed in me. And people ask me, with everything that you guys, what we've been through, honey, in the course of our life, why don't you give up? Why are you not in a crazy house with everything that you guys have endured? And I have to say it's because of love, but most importantly, because of faith. Like, I thank God for just continuing to protect us, right? And to love us and to push us forward. So we've tried to make sure that we really expose our children to the power of faith and to God every night as a family. Even my mother-in-law, shout out to my mother-in-law who's here with us in Florida. We as a family, there's not a night that goes by that we do not pray as a family. We come together and we thank God and we just honor God. And I'm just so grateful for having a partner and a husband who supports me and supports our children. And are we perfect? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. We get up every day, and some days are a struggle, right? Some days it's a struggle, but we continue to press forward. For all of you, honey, I know you wanted to thank everybody. I want to give you this opportunity that prayed for you during your back surgery. He recently had back surgery.
Yeah, no question about it. Recovery is going well. Thank everybody for the prayers. Prayer works, and it's one of those things where without having that connection and the belief and the faith, then it's hard to persevere. So just tying back to exactly what the topic is from a father perspective, that was one of the biggest things that my father instilled in me was perseverance, and always, regardless of whatever was happening in our household or out in the world that was affecting my father, He was always, no matter how high strung he was always positive and a hopeful person, and a person who persevered and always tried to instill in us that you can dream and that you can do things that other people think that you can't do, and that you have to just believe in yourself, and you have to continue to pursue those dreams. And he worked, but that those dreams came with hard work, and that he always worked, double time to try to make things happen for himself outside of just working that 9 to 5. He was always grinding and hustling and teaching us that perseverance and that faith, and that believing in yourself and not giving up, So
yeah, I mean, you beat me to the point I was going to ask you about. When you think about legacy and your father's legacy, what type, and I'll talk about my father after this, but what type of legacy did your father leave? You touched on the power of perseverance, but when you think about your father's legacy, and the legacy that he left, Horace L. Bailey, as we called him, H.L. Bailey, Horace Bailey, what type of legacy do you feel as though your father left for you and for your children and your family and your brothers? I want to ask you that, and let me ask you a two-part question. What type of legacy did he leave, right? And what impact has that legacy made in your life?
I think the legacy is to always move forward. For me, being the oldest, it was one of those things where it was responsibility placed upon you earlier in life, because you had to set the example for, who's coming after you. So, I mean, I know you can relate to that, being the oldest of 6. It was just me and my brother. And, my father had a set of twins prior to being with my mom. And they were not always connected to the family, although my father always tried to stay in their life and be connected to them. And it's funny how things end up happening, where I found myself in a similar situation after that, with my son and my daughter to my previous marriage. But what he taught me was, you always take care of the responsibilities that you have, but that you always move forward and you never let anything keep you from what it is that you're passionate and that you hope for. You can't don't wallow in any situation that may be leaning on you. Don't allow that to keep you down. And one of the things that rings in my head every day that I try to teach our children is that the greatest skill that you can learn in life is problem solving. And my father taught me that at a very young age, and no matter what it is, stop, think, don't get excited. Don't let emotion control you at any particular moment in time. You're human. You have emotion, but everything is a problem. And every problem that comes has a solution, but you have to learn to problem solve. And it doesn't matter what it is. If you don't take the moment to breathe and to think and to solve a problem, then you won't be able to move forward, because you'll get stuck. So that was something that he instilled upon me at a very young age. My father was an electrician, and he took me out to work with him on a regular basis, especially, on the weekends when I didn't have school. Get up. It's Saturday. Don't nobody sleep in this house past a certain time. You're not just going to sleep and lay around the house. Get up. Let's go. And you're going to come help me do this job. We're going to make this money. And when I would go with him all over the city of Philadelphia to do these electrical jobs, what he always said was, okay, this is the job we have to do, but how are we going to take the work out the job and then do it? So he would sit and drink his coffee, which is where I got my coffee habit from at a young age. And he would sit at the beginning of the job and analyze the job that needed to be done and say, okay, like I said, how are we going to take the work out of the job? and then do it. Okay, we're not going to hustle backwards. We're not going to just dive in and go at something haphazardly and then find ourselves in a quandary where we can't figure out how to get out of this mess because we didn't think the job through all the way from start to finish. So he was a project manager before I even knew what a project manager was. Right. Okay, and those are some of the things that I say from a legacy perspective that he taught me, that he left for me to pass on to my children is, problem solving is the greatest skill that you can learn in life because it relates and translates to everything. Yeah.
I would say up until the day he died, he taught us, right? He just poured into us. We used to take trips to Macon. He was from Macon, Georgia. And we would take trips with him, and he would just, first of all, we had to listen to his music. Let's make that clear. We had to listen to the oldies but goodies, he loved some Otis Redding. That was his friend, childhood friend. And then Shirley Murdoch, who was it that we used to listen to, the Cleanup Woman? But we would just talk, and he just poured so much into us, right? And I know I see you thinking about him. It's been a long time since we talked about our fathers. I think this is one of the only times we really get sensitive, is because our fathers meant so much to us. Our fathers were very much alike. They never met because my father had passed away a couple months before I met. When I first started dating Prate, my dad passed away. But our fathers had such an impact on who we are. They left such powerful and strong legacies. And just I asked you, Prate, and I'm going to come back, so I want you to think about it. I wanted to know what impact his legacy has on your life right now. And I know you were saying teaching the kids about problem solving, but I want to know what impact you think, not what you think, what impact his legacy has had on your life, right? Up until this moment. But to go into what impact my father has had, what legacy my father left was, and I always say T.I. stole it from my dad, but it's God, family, hustle, which is the truth. You know what I mean? Like my dad always said, put God first, and then family being, when you're the oldest of 6 children, family is uber important. So family was everything. My dad was the one who put together the family reunion. And like I told you at the beginning of this, my great grandmother had 18 kids. My great grandmother, great grandfather, Bill, Natalie, Roy. I come from a huge, huge family. So my father would have the family reunions. He was the one who got everybody, and my dad adopted everybody's kids in the project. Like for those of you who know my dad, who knew Mr. Tank, as they called him, Harrisburg Shorty. My dad was a shorty like me. He took care of everybody. Family was everything, and everybody was family. Everybody stayed at our house. We were the family that had cookouts every weekend. We just had a good time. But the other thing my dad taught me from a very young age was hustle, was work ethic. Like if you want it, go get it. Nobody's going to give it to you. And if you earn it yourself, you'll appreciate it more. That's why when we got together, honey, if you remember, like when I was younger, to go back when we grew up in the projects, we would collect cans. We would cut grass. Like my dad and anybody who knows us from the P-Funk will tell you we hustled. We were a family that hustled like from the gate. I started my first job at 13, and that was a legal job. Before that, I was working, but and that's why our company is called the Hustle Agency to today, because both of our fathers taught us about work ethic, and not just taught us, showed us, right, work ethic and what that looks like. So I want to just say I rarely talk about my dad because I get very, very sensitive about it. My father passed away quite some time ago. My dad got sick around Christmas time, and they told us he had cancer. My dad died 6 months later. So I was very young. I was young, the oldest of 6, but my mom really stepped up and just did what she had to do. She's a warrior, and we'll talk about her in another episode, because it's been basically just a little over a year since she passed, and I'm not ready to talk about that yet. But our fathers really taught us that, hard work and faith and perseverance and family, and our wedding thing, honey, if you think about it, is life, love, and laughter. And that really we learned from our fathers. They lived life like they were the life of the party. Anybody who knew Tank or Horace, no, they're gonna dance. I even thinking about your dad now, thinking about him dancing. Mm-hmm. They were dancers. They took care of their families. But they worked very hard. So the whole point of this show is the power, right? Teaching you the power and the importance of legacy. What type of legacy will you leave? Our fathers, the legacy that they left is having an impact on us now, on our children, and hopefully our children's children. So, Pray, what kind of legacy? I mean, now, excuse me, not what type of legacy, but how do you feel like you are carrying the torch when it comes to your father's legacy? Like, how have you applied those principles that he's taught you to your life today?
I think the impact for me is it's the moral code that he instilled in me. Now, I call it a moral code, but it's basically just a set of values that was instilled from a very young age in regards to just how you live your life, just loyalty, respect. My dad always said it's nothing worse than a cheat than a liar, and that they're basically the same thing. He taught me just little things that he would say that I hear resonate in my head all the time. Mm-hmm. That moral code that I speak of is, I wouldn't necessarily say, okay, this came from the Bible, but my father was raised in a Catholic family down south in the middle of the Bible Belt. And he was not necessarily what you would call a going to church kind of guy, a Bible thumping kind of guy. But at the same time, those things that he instilled come directly from that. So right. Little things that he would teach you that may have come off harsh at that moment in time. He used to tell me so many things that still resonate with me. I can't choose your religion for you. Two things I can't choose for you: your religion and your women. You're gonna have to make that choice yourself. And you're gonna have to live. And you're gonna have to live with those repercussions of those choices.
He was the funniest guy. Oh my goodness.
He would always say that you pay the price to be the man that you choose to be.
Say that again.
Let that sink in.
No, say that again for the people in the back that didn't hear that.
He would say, you pay the price to be the man that you choose to be. So
That's powerful. That's powerful.
Nothing that you do comes without a set of consequences. Nothing you do comes without a set of consequences. Those consequences or those reactions can be positive or they can be negative. But you're going to pay the price for whatever moves you make, whatever you do. If you're not living under a certain moral code of loyalty, of respect, of honor, he would also tell me all the time, integrity. He would also tell me all the time, listen, when you get married, your wife and your kids are your priority, your immediate family. Okay. Now, don't get it twisted. You take care of your mom. You take care of your siblings. You be there for people. But when you take that covenant under God, that now becomes your priority. Why? Because he didn't say it this clean and this neat. Okay. He didn't say it this clean and this neat. He said it a little bit different. But he said that.
A little bit flowery. A
little bit more flowery language.
The PG version.
But I'll give you the family friendly version. He said that family will do you dirty quicker than a person on the street.
Wow.
Okay.
Crazy.
Now,
my dad
that's not because he wasn't a family person. That was because he wanted you to see the deeper aspect of it.
Yeah.
You share everything and you're open with your family. So you're vulnerable to your family. So be mindful of everybody on this broadcast that's watching this show right now probably has heard their parents say, especially the OGs, okay? Because we're the OGs in our family at this point.
Don't tell people.
Once you start getting to that, once you start getting up to the age that we're at,
over 50,
you're the OGs in your family. And he always told me, he said, you share everything with your family, but what stays in my house, what happens in my house stays in my house. So the reason why he told me that, and many of you have heard that before, is because when you go run and tell your cousin and you run and tell your auntie and your uncle, those things will come back to bite you in the behind when you're sharing information outside of your immediate family.
Because they don't see the whole picture. They don't
because
know
they
the
don't
whole
know
story.
everything. And plus, because just like
yeah.
Martin Lawrence used to say, go run, tell that. They're going to run it in. They're going to run the tapes in, and it's not always going to be to your benefit. So a lot of the things that he was teaching me was about, friends that you will take in your life will become closer to you than family, okay? Because they have your back, and because they're not family, you may end up growing into a stronger relationship with those people because they have a similar set of they have a similar mindset, and they have a similar set of life rules that they live by. So he taught me the moral code to how to be a man and how to provide, but also how to walk.
Right.
Okay. And not to have to look over your shoulder. And how
that's
to go.
What we talk about being authentic. And you talk about authenticity. Your father and my father were definitely you was going to get it, how you get it. Anybody know Tink Daniels? No, he's going to give it to you straight up. Horace going to give it to you straight, no chaser. And that's why we're very much that way with our kids, is that when you have integrity and you are who you are and you're just forthright, that's why people say, how can you just tell all your business because I don't have nothing to hide? So when you don't have anything to hide, you know that you can step out and not have to worry about,
when you do right by people and you do
Yeah.
exactly what you say you're going to do, then you don't have to worry about negative repercussions coming from that, because you understand that a lie is a lie.
Right.
And as long as you did what you were supposed to do, it's going to be what it's going to be. Right. And I know when my time comes to go stand before the man, I know I did what I was supposed to do.
Yeah, I think that's something that, being transparent, right? Let's be transparent. I believe that, the only person that's perfect is God, right? Our fathers made mistakes. They were not perfect men. We're not going to sit here and tell that lie. But here's the thing, right? When we talk about, and I'm going to ask this question again because I want you guys to really think about it, is what type of a legacy will you leave, right? We really got to think about that, because you were just talking about keeping your word and doing what you say you're going to do. And for me, I'm very much, me, I try to help everybody and do everything. And what I realize is that one thing that I'm not good at is setting realistic expectations, right? Or realistic deadlines for myself. Is that I'm trying to do a million things and help so many people that I want to make sure that my legacy is honorable. Are we perfect? No, we're all flawed, and all of us are trying our best and putting one foot in front of the other. But I think it's time that we really rip the Band-Aid off and tell the truth and say, listen, we're all flawed. We all make mistakes, and we have to be mindful of the type of legacy that we're leaving. So I want to make sure that I underpromise and over-deliver moving forward. Of course, I know that in marketing, but I haven't necessarily been living that. I'll say, I'll give it to you tomorrow, and then it takes me a week. That's not okay. It doesn't matter that I'm trying to help a million people. I have to slow down and stop and realize that, well, what's God's plan is going to be God's plan, right? So I have to just walk in that peace and that assurity and know that as long as I'm coming from an authentic place and I'm trying to do what is real, the legacy I want to leave for my children is I want them to know that my mom never gave up. No, she trusted God and she loved God, and no matter what came her way, she kept trying and she kept putting one foot in front of the other. And my father, that's something I learned from my dad, like being the oldest of 6 kids and growing up in public housing. We never really had a lot. And it was like, but my dad always said he wanted to get us out of the project. And he did that. He worked and he grinded it and he did what he had to do. But my father was a lover of people. My dad took care of people up until the time he died. He worked at a senior facility in public housing, the Jackson Lake building, and took care of older people. And it's like, you know what? I just want people to know and to understand that when I say to you, what kind of legacy are you going to leave? We all have a past and we're not perfect and we all make mistakes. And it's like, but you still have time. If you're here and you're breathing, right, you can still fix it. You can still leave an honorable legacy. You can say, no, my past wasn't perfect. Like our fathers were not perfect. They made mistakes. I talked about my father in my book and the things that he did wrong, but I did that just to share and show men that you don't have to be perfect to be the man. And my dad was the man. He made mistakes when he was younger, But my father is the person who taught me work ethic. My father is the one that taught me, and he drilled into me, be a leader, not a follower. Be a leader, not a follower. And I say that's part of our children's morning mantras is ABC, always be confident. Be a leader, not a follower. And I'm a leader, not a follower. Excuse me. What's the other one now? I messed up.
I'm extraordinary.
I'm extraordinary, not ordinary.
Not ordinary.
I will ABC, always be confident, and I'm a leader, not a follower. And it's the thing that I realize is that, so what if you messed up in the past? Like, we're all of the flesh. We are human beings. We make mistakes. But it's like, if you're the uncle that's living in the basement right now, like, are you going to be the uncle that's living in the basement that just played PlayStation and didn't do anything? Or are you going to be the uncle in the basement that lived there because he was helping take care of grandma because she was sick? Like, you don't have to be the next person on Forbes, at the top of Forbes list. It's not about that. It's about what problem does your life solve, right? What purpose does your life, what reason do you exist, right? What is your purpose for being here? And if your purpose is not to serve God and to advance the kingdom of God, what exactly are you doing? Are you trying to build a mansion? But we're all here for a reason, right? We're all here for a reason. All of our life serves purpose. What is your purpose? Are you living that? And if you're not, it's okay, because there's still time to do that. And you don't have to be perfect. You just got to get started. And for all of the women watching, that's why she is still dope and listening. And also listening, forgot it's a Vodcast. So for all of you who are going to tune in later on this week via our podcast on all platforms, I just want to say that, what purpose does your life serve? Like, what are you here for? And I don't care what you've done in the past, what mistakes you've made, there's still time. God still has you here for a reason. What is that reason? What are you here to do? Do it. Don't be an uncle that, Eric, we all got that uncle, right? Or that was like, oh yeah, he just drank beer and he did whatever. But do you want to be that uncle? Do you want to be that aunt? Like, what are you here for? Leave an honor and say, guess what? At one point in my life, I was a mess. I did this, I did that. Oh, but God, right? We could turn it around. So I just want people to understand, Prate, how important leaving an honorable legacy is. Look at what our fathers, the legacies that were they perfect? No, they were not perfect men, but they left honorable legacies. And there's no money in the world they could have left us that would be as valuable as what there was nothing they could leave for us that was more valuable than what they left in us. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, no question about it. I always talk about my father in very lofty terms. So, because of the impact that he left on me. So it comes across as if, especially, to the mothers, that, your dad is always on a pedestal. Okay.
Mm-hmm,
but
mm-hmm.
The thing is, so it's funny, but the thing is that coming up, I had my inner circle of friends that I still have to this day. Okay. That I can count on one hand. All right. I got a lot of acquaintances. A lot of people I know, got people I work with.
Lamar.
Yeah. Right. I got a handful of friends. Okay. And
right.
There's a difference in that handful of friends. The majority of those cats had dads in their household in their lives. Okay. And they're all
fathers are so
doing
important,
well.
Man.
They're all doing well and they're all taking care of themselves. I had one brother that I'm really tight with who didn't have a father in his life. Okay. His grandmother and his mother raised him. And he's still taking care of himself, but he struggled throughout the course of his life. And but he's done a lot of amazing things, but he struggled. So the legacy is that, being authentic and being real. My father always said, listen, he didn't drink, he didn't smoke. Okay. But he'll tell you
he ain't play that.
But my problem, he didn't drink no alcohol. He didn't smoke. He was always a designated driver. But remember, he grew up in Georgia, in Macon, Georgia, and his uncle was a moonshine runner. Okay, so he saw what alcohol did to his family structure and in his house. Okay, he saw what it did, and he was just turned off by cigarettes and by smoking, those types of things. My father always tell you that, I'm not perfect. My problem was women. Okay, so you have those situations where you think that somebody, you put them on a pedestal, but they always have their vices and their downfalls. But does the good outweigh the bad? And are you real and authentic about what it is that you do every day? And are you sharing all of those parts of you so that your children can learn from the mistakes that you made? So just like when we talk about,
and like we said, I don't want to slight the mothers, because let's make it clear, our mothers are the bomb. Like, we have two very strong, my mother just passed away, but I'm gonna have to dedicate a whole episode to my mom, because she was just that kind of woman. And also for my mother-in-law, you learned a lot from your mom, and just, work ethic, and she's always had our back and supported us when nobody else did. But we're talking today really more about our fathers, because you know what? I felt the need, because we could not broadcast last week for Father's Day, to really talk to the men, because we get a lot of male viewers, to talk to the men and the women about the power of legacy and the power of having strong fathers in the household. Is the reason I really wanted to touch on that is because I want brothers to know that, yes, there's some trauma that you have there from childhood. Or for the women to understand, there's some traumatic things that your man has went through that makes him the way he is. But I think it's really time for our men to step up. And yes, this is a female movement, but this is not a feminist movement, right? We understand the Bible says the man is the head of the household. And for those who don't have a man in the household, then wait on him. God's sending him. But I don't stand behind my husband. I stand beside my husband. And I just want the men that are in the household to know and to understand that and pray, you can say if this is true or not, but your responsibility and the most important thing in your life should be your family, and leaving an honorable legacy for your children. Your children are watching you. They're learning from you how to live and how to move forward. So I think it's important, and we're very hard on our girls. Our kids will tell you that we're strict. I won't play disrespect. We're not having that, So, but I think it's important for men, and Prate, I'm saying this not to you, because I can't say that this applies to you for our family, but for men who are putting their careers or their ministries or their goals before family, like you're the most important thing in your life is your family. It's your legacy, and it's like your children are watching you. So it's important that we say, again, the question for today is, what kind of legacy are you going to leave? Like, your kids, are they going to be able to say, my dad, he ran a church and he was an excellent pastor and or an excellent apostle, but we didn't really see him much, or he didn't teach us how to ride a bike, or, I know he was good to other people, but were you good to them? Did you teach them? Like, what happens to the next generation of your family, right? And it's like, for those of you who may have lost their father, like me, or children have lost their father, we're the uncles that will stand up and step up and really step in, right? And say, I'm here and I'm going to teach you how to tie your shoe or ride a bike. And, for the women who just don't have that, you step up. What kind of legacy are you leaving? Are you living your purpose? And that's what we talk about with She Is So Dope, is you're here for a reason. What purpose does your life serve? What kind of legacy, when you leave, if you leave here, what are people going to say about you? Will they say, I learned love from her. I learned patience, or she had my back, or she taught me about God. And, and not necessarily taught me about God by speaking and ramming a Bible down your throat, but by living it and just being the light, right? What about that? Or for those of you whose parents did leave an honorable legacy, are you passing that on to your children and to your grandchildren? And if you're not, it's like, what are we doing? What are we doing? It's like, I get so frustrated when I think about it. And it's like, it's not about you. It's like we all want to be social media influencers and be famous. But what about, like, the reason, what about your purpose? Why does God have you here? It's not to be Instagram famous. It's to make an impact. Your life serves purpose. What are you here for? What purpose does your life serve? So what kind of legacy are you going to leave? I want everybody to just pause for a minute. Take a 5. What kind of legacy, if you left here today, what would people say about you? Would it be bad? Or would it be good? Or would they not really have anything to say?
Yeah, it's funny, because when you were talking about, are you that uncle, or what role are you serving out there for the men that are out there that are listening or watching? The first thing that came to my mind was one of my closest friends, and I don't talk to him every day, but Lonnie Devan in Harrisburg,
our kid's godfather,
Pennsylvania. My kid's godfather. Okay, he wasn't one of those cats that I grew up with in Philly. I didn't meet him until I moved to Harrisburg, and I was already out of college and on the grind and working, and we met working together, and he ended up being one of the closest friends that I've ever had. And the thing is that he doesn't have kids of his own, but he's Uncle Lonnie to 20 kids.
More than that.
More
than 20.
I mean, and this is a brother that takes care of everybody. And that sets that example of what a father should be to kids that are not his own or that are his nephews or nieces. And he takes care of them like they're his own, and he does everything for everybody because that's just a person that he is. But, we always used to say, what are you going to do with yourself? Stop being a waste of space. And there's so many people out there that have given up and that are just stuck in a rut. And you don't understand, or they don't understand, that you still have time to do something with yourself. And you have to take that opportunity while you still have time so you don't die with regret. The worst thing you can do is look up and your time is up and you haven't done anything with yourself because you got caught and stuck in wallowing in whatever your situation is, instead of looking at what the possibilities may be and stepping up and living an honorable life and leaving a legacy for somebody else. So somebody
that's it though. You still have time.
It's up to you. You know what I mean? You got to make a decision. Yeah. You got to make a decision, and sometimes it's not an easy one, but you got to make a decision. What you going to do?
Yeah. I mean, you're so right. It's just like, people think about all the people that die from COVID who are not here. You are like, what are you here for? What purpose does your life serve? And I always tell people, they be like, I don't know my purpose. Like, in order to live your God-given purpose, you have to have a relationship with God. And you don't have to be a Bible thumper that goes every Sunday. Like, it's about relationship. It's not about religion. It's about relationship. And my thing is that just say, yo, God, I need you. Like, just show me the way. Just show me how to get started. And oftentimes we know our purpose. We just don't think about it. We don't think about the fact that thing right on our heart that God is pushing us to do. It's right there. We overthink. I don't know my purpose. You do. It's in your heart, but you don't believe in yourself. There's fear, right? And there's no such thing as failure. I want people to understand that. Listen, just try it. Just step forward in faith and understand that either you win or you learn, as Nelson Mandela said. I don't believe in failure. Sometimes things don't work out. And normally when things don't work out, it's pushing you to where you need to be. So my thing is that try, like, just step out on faith and try. And whatever it is, it's not too late. If you wanted to be a ballet dancer and now you're 60, then teach ballet. You know what I mean? Like, there's another way for you to go about it and to do it. And that's what we do. Our company is called The Hustle Agency, and we've been building brands for people for over 25 years. We take your dream and we bring it to life. Contact The Hustle Agency, But my thing is really just talk to God. You're here. You have a purpose. And again, the question is, what kind of legacy do you want to leave? What kind of legacy will you leave, right? It's like I always say, and I say this all the time, if you close your eyes and you wake up tomorrow and the first face you see is God's, and he say, what did you do with what I gave you? What purpose did you serve your purpose? Like, what are you going to say? I shoulda, I coulda, I woulda. You want to be able to say, I used everything you gave me, God, I tried. I did my best, who was I talking to? Madonna the other day, and she said, I just want to die empty. And I was like, wow, I thought about that. And it's just like, yo, we're all here for a reason. Like, don't just play video games and be a waste of space. I don't have no problem with people play video games, but you got to work hard and play. If you want to play hard, you got to work hard. And it's like the Bible said, a man that don't work, don't eat. So it's like, what are you doing? And maybe you're working just in the community, giving back and, teaching kids in the community how to play basketball. But what are we here for? This world is such a dark and ugly place right now. People are really hurting. You think about like I said, the building collapse in Miami, right here where we are in Florida, or you think about all the things that are happening, the mass shootings and COVID, and and it's like, why are you here? Why are you here? Are you here to collect a stimulus? Like everybody, I'm waiting on my stimulus. Well, what else are you doing? Or what are you doing with your stimulus? Like, don't come out of COVID the same. We said that when we started Change 2020, which launched She Is Still Dope, a long time ago. Like, if you come out of COVID the same, like, that's such a waste. Like, why? Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? You're here and you're breathing. And if you see God and you say, what did you do? And you say, I played video games and I bought me some Gucci and some Prada and, I got my lashes did. Like, come on, man. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Your life has purpose. And, the great thing about She Is Still Dope is that next week we're going to be announcing, Prate, as you know, some new courses and seminars. And we're going to really help you flesh out what is my purpose. If you don't know, it's okay. It's okay. We're going to figure it out together because it's time for you to find and live your purpose. That's what She Is Still Dope exists for, is to say, yo, you're here for a reason. What is that? What is that reason? Right? So it's just one of those things where it's like, it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be, we talk all the time about, I'm so anal. I want things a certain way. And, I'm very OCD, you guys. But it's like, what I realized was, just do it. You can make every excuse in the world for why you're not doing something, but just do it. They talked about Jesus Christ. You think they're not going to talk about you? Who cares what people think? What are you here for? It's about family. And it's funny because COVID made us, and I know I'm talking, I can do this. Like, I'm gonna let you in here, honey. He's used to the show. We've been together 21 years. It's fine. I always do this. I love you, honey.
It's all good. Keep it going.
You're supposed to say I love you too.
I love you.
Happy life. No,
but I know, but I didn't want to interrupt you because I know you're gonna keep talking. Go ahead.
Listen, you gotta find somebody as crazy as you and settle down, you guys. It's been 21 years for us, and there has not been no cakewalk. We are not perfect people, but I thank God for where we are now because I'm more in love with Him than I've ever been in my life. So I love you, and I want you to know I appreciate you.
I love you, and I appreciate you as well. Trust me, it's not it's not easy trying to make it 21 years, and especially when you're as hard-headed as I am. You got to take your lumps, but over time, you learn things, and that's what it's all about.
All the businesses we've had. You talk about failure. People talk about failure. Listen, for those of you who know us, we had the Philly Underground Film and Music Festival. I had Eyes on the Prize Productions. For those of you who remember me doing bus trips in Harrisburg, we had the Hoagie Factory, Harrisburg Hoagie Factory. We could just keep going, and it's like
motivation. We had
motivation, cake, yes, creating access for curvaceous experiences. That was for big girls. I was trying to do this plus size empowerment movement, and anyway, that's a whole nother. We've done it all, right? And people would look and say, "Yo, they failed at a lot of stuff." No, we didn't fail. We win or we learn, and we learned, and we're not leaving behind. Our kids will say, yo, our parents failed at everything they did. They're going to say, yo, they just kept going and kept going and kept going until, it worked.
The only way you lose is when you give up.
That's
so,
it.
you talk about legacy.
Winners never quit and quitters never win.
Listen, my dad taught me, and you talk about legacy, and Horace Bailey taught me from a young age. He worked at the Philadelphia Naval Shipyard for 20-something years. After he retired from the Philadelphia Naval Shipyard, he went to go work at Temple University. He retired from Temple University. After he went to work at Temple University, he went to Bucks County School District, and then he retired from Bucks County School District. In the meantime, he was still working electrical jobs all across Philadelphia for his own business.
The only person I know that retired 50 times. That man, he worked until the day he died.
Listen, it died a couple hours after working on my brother's car. Okay, and then wake up because guess what? You keep on grinding. You wake up, you go to work, you go to sleep, you wake up, you go to work. You talk about legacy. It's all ingrained in you. You do what you see, and you learn from what you observe as part of your socialization. So that's why it's so important that you realize that your children are watching you.
They're watching.
Your nieces and nephews are watching you. They look up to you, and they're watching.
You're gonna make mistakes. We made a lot of mistakes. You know,
so,
ain't no perfect. There's no such thing as a perfect marriage. It's been 21 years for us. Let me tell you, yelling, screaming. You know what I mean? I'm sick of you. I'm leaving you. You know, now we don't even use the D word because the D word is not an option. Like it's not an option for us. But we've been through some things. We, you know, like it has not been no cakewalk. Anybody that's married will tell you, and it's funny because Pastor V and Pastor Fontaine were talking this week about, you know, you go through some stuff. All these people painting marriage like it's just, I mean, thank God on this end of it, it feels pretty perfect, pretty amazing, and we still make mistakes, but we had to go through some things. Like we had to mess up. We really had to figure it out. And it's like,
listen,
don't feel like, you know, that you can't do, or don't leave a legacy because you're worried about being perfect, because we sure have not been perfect. And the thing that our kids won't be able to say is that my parents gave up, you know, they quit. And they can't even say that about our marriage, because there's times when we felt like it. Oh, I told this joker right here a couple times, I'm leaving you. I'm getting a divorce. You done lost your ever loving, buddy. You know what I mean? Like he really fell and bumped his head a couple times, you know? And you know, your girl ain't ugly. So let me tell you, he was about to pay the price. You know what I mean? But thank God that we didn't give up, because now what we have, what is it now, baby? What do you think?
It's amazing, but it's about perseverance. It's no different than anything else that's going on in your life. Mm-hmm. If you're not willing to work for it, everything requires work.
It requires, we work. Boy, we have worked. I mean, cried, fought, yelled, screamed. We done been there. That's what marriage is. But when you have somebody that's soulmate, right? The soulmate, we're tied together. What do you always say? Undivided duel, right?
Exactly.
It's like it's not going to be perfect. All you women that's like, I'm looking for the perfect man that don't make no mistakes and he gotta respect me. And listen, I respect that, right? I get it. But my thing is that there's no perfect person. And we always say you gotta find somebody as messed up as you and settle down. People always say, why you say that? That don't even make sense.
Exactly. Listen, makes perfect sense.
Makes perfect sense. I'm weak at, he's strong at. When he's weak at, I'm strong at. We're better together. We're stronger together. And it's just like this thing now, because of what we've been through, this thing now is good. You can't tell us. Listen, I feel like a teenager. You feel like a teenager again?
I feel like I feel like I've been a teenager for a long time. Every time I realize how old I am, I scratch my head. Every time some more gray pops up, I'm wondering what the hell is going on around here.
Yeah,
because
50 is right here. We right at 50.
I feel like I'm still a young man, because that's the way that I view the world. And as far as still being connected to music, still being connected to society, your dad. Think about your dad. You couldn't tell me he wasn't a young man. That stuff was ingrained in me from a very young age from my dad. That's just the way. But he was 70 something
when he passed, and you couldn't tell me. Even like my little sister Franny, she gonna kill me for this. She used to say all the time, Nana's my mother-in-law. She would say, Nana better watch out, because Yo-Yo, that's his dad. His nickname is Yo-Yo. Yo-Yo could get it. And I was like, girl, don't say that. That's so disrespectful. But his dad had so much swag. You would never think that he was as old as he was, because he was so youthful and just vibrant and full of life. And he just worked. And he left such an awesome legacy, you know? And that's probably why you feel like you're 21.
Well, it's because you have to stay relevant and you have to stay connected to what's happening. You know, if you're going to be able to relate to your kids, you have to stay connected to what's going on. So my dad would ingrain certain things in me, and we would stay connected because he loved music and I learned to love music from him. But the thing is that he bridged the gap, because he would listen to my music and tell me how horrible it was. But at the same time, he would say, oh, well, that's a James Brown sample. That's a Parliament Funkadelic sample. That sample came from Sam Cooke. So he would teach me the foundation of where the music came from, which helped me grow my appreciation for his music even further, which is why I'm connected to the music from the 60s and the 70s and the late 50s the way that I am now. And I have an appreciation for that. And I do the same thing with my daughters now, is I connect with them and tell them that ain't no Ariana Grande song with 2 Chainz. That's A. Marie. That you didn't know that record because you wasn't alive.
When it comes to music, he is serious about the music.
But it's about staying connected to the things that are happening in the world so that you can relate to your children and you can make sure that they understand their past, because we're standing on the shoulders of our fathers, of our mothers, of the people that came before us. And all the stuff that's happening right now with Black Lives Matter and all the violence that you're seeing, this ain't nothing new. This ain't nothing new. We was dealing with this with Rodney King, and we was dealing with this with
we were just watching the Different World reunion, and think about 33 years ago, Different World wasn't the same stuff is still going on. Right. And that's why we have to shift the conversation, and that's why we have to take hold of the power to claim our power, and like sister always says, reclaim our own time. Like it's like, and I saw Kim said on here, thank God because I chose one over the other. I was thinking about the women who didn't stay in marriages because, and this is not Kim's story, but I think about the women who didn't stay in marriages because they were being abused. Domestic violence is on the rise right now. Like, don't think just because our marriage, we decided to stay in it. If somebody put their hands on you and your kids is watching, like, what kind of legacy do you want to leave? You know what I mean? My mom just got beat and she loved him so much, she died just trying to make it happen. No, if somebody's hurting you, if it ain't working out, if somebody's cheating and they don't want to stop cheating, listen, we don't push divorce on anybody, but sometimes in certain situations, you are stronger saying enough is enough. Like, I want to make that clear. I don't want to just say, stay, because we've been through some things, and thank God we worked it out. He never put his hands on me, because if he did, he wouldn't be here right now. But let me just, be very serious about the fact that when we talk about leaving a legacy, an honorable legacy, sometimes it takes more courage to leave than it does to stay. So if you're being beat, like domestic violence, especially with COVID, is so, it has increased tremendously. So if somebody is just a serial cheater or beating you down, like just to where you don't even have hope anymore, like you let that person know, listen, like we're gonna have to get some counseling with not the beating part. If you're just being beat like that physically, then that person needs to get to handle some things on their own, right? And I'm not here to give marriage counseling. That's not what I'm here to say. But I'm saying that what type of legacy will you leave? If it's, my dad or my mom, because men get beat too, let's make that clear, abused my parent, but I'm so proud of my mom because she left. Or I'm so proud of my dad because he left and he didn't take it. So my thing is, I just wanted to clear that up. I want to make it clear that everybody's story is different, right? That's why it's called your story. It's your life. It's your purpose. Nobody knows the truth when the lights go off, right? When the cameras flee, when you're not on social. What does your life really look like? Like, that's what we're talking about, because you can fake it all you want, but people know, like, that's an Instagram filter. So you can fake it till you make it for Instagram all you want, but what kind of legacy are you really going to leave, right? Because you flashing your stimulus check on Instagram, but when you die and they have a GoFundMe, they're going to be like, yo, that brother was really broke. So you're not fooling nobody. It's like, listen, if you're broke, say I'm broke. You know what I mean? Like I'm not saying you have to tell people you're broke. My point is be who you are. Be authentically. I tell people, listen, girlfriend is struggling over here. Not that I don't make good money, but I've reinvested back into our ministry and our movement. And I know God provides. And my thing is that I just want to let somebody know, is it a cakewalk for us? No. When he had when my husband had cancer, our co-pays for Prate had cancer at 29 on his 30th birthday. Our co-pays for cancer meds was $30 a pop. We had good insurance, but them cancer meds cost, right? We've been through failed businesses. We got bills. You know what I'm saying? Like, this thing is not easy, but my thing is, you can't say we ain't tried. You can't say we didn't give it everything we got. You know what I mean? We don't have no rich uncle or nobody pouring money into us or giving us money for this ministry. We do this on the strength together. So I'm saying to y'all, like, there's no excuses. The only thing that's stopping you is you. Listen, we all got bills. Let's make that clear. I don't know a lot of people right now who don't have bills. You got bills, you got problems, you got issues, but it's like, what are you here to do? All of those things are excuses. What's stopping you is you. Live your purpose. What are you here for? What kind of legacy are you going to leave?
Well, it's funny when you talk about that from a certain extent, because for me, it's about keeping it 100 all the time. We always talk about keeping it real, even when it goes wrong, to quote Dave Chappelle, right? So for me, I remember having a conversation last year with one of my good friends, Gene, and when he turned 50. And what we were talking about was the fact that, like I said earlier, we're the OGs in our family now. So, when our dads weren't alive, you always had that resource of that elder to go to for wisdom, for advice, for, can I borrow a couple $100 because I'm in a situation?
Can I get a couple of dollars? Ain't nobody getting no couple of dollars from no more. We the ones that got to get a couple of dollars now. We the auntie and uncle.
Exactly. So now that's us.
Yeah.
Okay, now that's us.
Yeah.
And me and him had this conversation for about an hour, just talking at his 50th birthday party that, now my nieces and nephews are coming to me for advice on how to handle situations in their life that are monumental decisions that they have to make, where I have to provide guidance to them. And now we got to stand in the gap for those people. We got to pray for those people. We got to point them in the right direction. We have to be able to give them resources and solve problems and help them find their way.
But also be honest and say we messed up too.
And not only be honest, but also let them know when they're tearing their behind and when they're making a mistake. Or when they're not going down the right path, and being honest with them, even when they don't like hearing what you have to say.
Yeah.
So
we the auntie and uncle you ain't gonna talk to like that. We'll let you know right now. You're not gonna, And I have nieces and family members now that don't speak to me and be like, that aunt was never there for me. She ain't, because you're not gonna disrespect me. You're not. See, there's one thing that I'm old school. You're not gonna disrespect me. You're not gonna talk to me any kind of way. I'm not gonna let you be twerking and tell you it's all right. Now I'm not that auntie. So you can be mad at me. You ain't got to speak to me. But one thing I'm not going to do is I'm not going to lead a kind of legacy where I can say I condone that and I'm the reason that you want to poll. No, ma'am, no, sir. I'm not. Am I perfect? Nope. Perfectly imperfect. I make mistakes every day. But the one thing is, I'm going to let you know. I'm going to tell you. I'm going to be honest about it.
You have to share both sides of a situation. Yeah. You can't, because nobody is going to take advice from someone who hasn't been through something.
Right.
So ultimately, if you haven't been through what I've gone through, and we done been through pretty much everything that somebody could go through, not everything, but most of them. We can relate in some way, shape, or form and try to help you figure out a way to push through. And sometimes there isn't necessarily an easy answer. It's just, you gotta compartmentalize. You gotta pray. You gotta compartmentalize, and you gotta keep it moving. And sometimes you won't get the answer right away, because God knows best. And sometimes you just gotta wait until He gives you the answer, because you don't necessarily know what the answer is, because it ain't meant for you to know.
Ain't that the truth? Listen, we're going over, and I tell the other hosts don't go over. We're going over. Before we start to wrap it up, because I'm gonna ask you to give us some. A piece of wisdom to close out as a part of your legacy. What gem or what piece of info you want to share with the people? But before we do that, I want to remind everybody, today at 4:00 we have a free social media 101 seminar with our very own Sharonda Lynn. Make sure you tune in today. It's free for those of you, especially folks our age, who are not very social media savvy. You don't know lingo. We're not going to get all the way into it, but we're at least going to help you out and help you along the way. Like I said, She's So Dope. In this season, we are going to provide hope, but we're also going to provide resources and information. So today at 4:00 Eastern Standard Time. So shout out to all of our watchers and listeners in Africa and UK and from all over the globe. But 4:00 today Eastern Standard Time, we will be going live with Sharonda Lynn for Social Media 101. Please don't forget, share that flyer and make sure you guys tune in. But this show, for those of you who are tuning in late, has been about leaving an honorable legacy. And today we salute our fathers and our family members who have left an honorable legacy. We shared, and I feel the need to, since we're standing on their shoulders, I'm going to run that slide again. You guys, I just want to quickly salute. That's my father-in-law, Horace Bailey. That's my father and his 6 children. For those of you know Tank Daniels, that is my father. Salute. We stand on their shoulders. This is my grandfather, Barry Daniels. This is my great-grandmother and great-grandfather, Adelaide and Bill Roy. So I just want to salute them and honor them. And in another episode, we'll talk about our mothers and other family members whose shoulders we stand on. But today, I just we wanted to talk about the importance, and especially to our men, to the leaders of our households. And if you don't have a man, then you step up and do what you got to do, sister. Like, let's leave an honorable legacy. At the end of the day, we're all here to serve the kingdom of God. We're all here to live our purpose. What purpose does your life serve? I don't care if you're 70. It's not over for you. If you're here breathing, it might be to support your children so that they can pursue their dreams and goals. It might be to start a new business. It might be to start a new ministry. Like, get that fire back. Like, you're breathing. You're here for a reason. What purpose does your life serve? Don't just die a waste of space. Don't die with regret. What is it that you're here to do? Like, if you're here for a reason. What purpose does your life serve? What kind of legacy will you leave? What kind of legacy will you leave? Think about that. What will people say about you? It's not what you leave them. You can leave them $1 million. That money going to be going quick. I'm telling you, I've seen people blow it. When the money is gone, what will they say about you? Will they be talking about you 21 years after you pass away like we are my father? You know, like we are my father-in-law. So I just want to say thank you to my husband, my heartbeat, my other half. I love you, and I thank God for bringing us together, because I know we are just hitting our stride, right? 21 years later, are we perfect? No, but I know that you're perfect for me, and I love you, and I just want to thank you for being a part of today's show. And before we close out, I want to ask you that, what do you want to share with the people? What do you want to talk to them about, or what you have the floor. I'm going to let you say what you have to say, and then I'll close us out.
I love you with all my heart. I appreciate the opportunity to be back on the show.
You ain't say that like really, you love me. Say it again. Look at me and tell me you love me.
Woman, I said I love you, girl. I love you.
He's the only one that can deal with me, y'all. He's the only. Go ahead. I got to mess with. This is how we do all the time, y'all.
Lord help. Okay, so listen. The biggest. No, I'm not ignoring you. We already at an hour and 16 minutes. You about to lose it.
Our network. We can take as long as we want to take. You're supposed to be like, baby, I love you. You ain't like what?
So some of that stuff is not meant to be on camera, girl. You better go ahead.
I'm just messing with you. Go ahead, baby. Go ahead.
honestly, and all jokes aside, what's really on my heart right now, especially with everything that's happening in society and what I see every day doing the business that we do, is that there's a lot of young folks that may come across this podcast or come across this video, and there's a perception out there that things are just like a chia pet, like you just pour water on it and it instantly happens. Okay, we live in a microwave society, especially right now with the millennials. Want instant gratification for everything. And this is not a knock on millennials. It's not a knock on Gen Z. What I'm saying is that the social media world that we live in gives us a distorted view of the world and of how things work. And it's amazing how we talk about all the time how it took 20 years to become an overnight success.
Ain't that the truth?
Okay.
We've been in this game a long time.
So, and we're still not where we want to be. Okay. Because whenever you have something that's important to you, you have to continue to work at it. Mm-hmm. So what I want to leave everybody with today is something my father used to say to me, and this is how it translates. A is don't go to college or go get educated and be stupid. Okay. He used to call it BS, more S, piled higher and deeper. All those degrees, and you can't walk across the street without getting hit by a car because you ain't got no common sense. And what that means to everybody is that just because you build it does not mean they will come.
At all.
Just because you build it does not mean they will come.
Nope. You
can have all the flowery wonderfulness that you wish to have when it comes to your purpose, to your business, to your mission, whatever it is that you decide you want to do. Okay, you can build it, but that doesn't mean they will come unless you do the work that's required in order to make it into what it is that you want it to be. What the vision that God gave to you requires work. You can't just sit back and pray for it if you're not going to work for it. So what I implore everyone to do that's watching or that's listening in the sound of my voice is not to stop once you've given birth to the baby. When we do branding and we talk with our clients all the time, and they come to us and they have this vision of what it is that they want to do, and that vision comes to fruition, that's the beginning. Yeah. That's not the end.
That's it.
That's
they think when they get branded that it's just going to pop.
That's the beginning.
And that's just the beginning. You just had the baby.
When you have a baby, you don't just stop and drop the baby, drop the load and say, okay, you're grown now, go off on your own and do your thing. No, you just get started.
They think that because you build this wonderful, beautiful brand, which we do, we're going to get you started on a solid foundation. But
you didn't give birth to an 18-year-old. You didn't give birth to an 18-year-old. Listen, you gave birth to a baby that you've been working on for quite some time. Yeah, and now it's time to grow that child and to rear that child and to make sure that that child is a success. It is not
the the dirty diapers and the wine, and it ain't gonna be no cakewalk. This ain't been no cakewalk for us. It's just starting.
It's not have dream, add water. Don't work that way.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So not to leave on a negative note, what I'm saying is that if you want it bad enough, want it bad enough, you're going to work for it. And if you do the work
and then work for
it and work some more and pray some more and work some more. And if you keep going, you will get there. You will get there. But guess what? It's not going to be automatic. Whatever it is. Whatever it is that you want that's worth having, you got to work for it. And you can ask all these people, I don't care whether it's Jay-Z or Beyonce or Diddy or an athlete, whoever you look up to, you think that, Michael Jordan or LeBron James just became who they are just like that. But nobody's watching all the work they doing behind the scenes to take care of their body in the off season, all the lifting they doing, all the running they doing, all the training they're doing. You don't see none of that because none of that's on camera. That's not on social media. All you see is them holding up those trophies. You don't see none of the work that goes behind it.
You see all that practice, all that. Exactly.
Yes, man.
Everybody's going out. I'm sorry. Tipping my glass.
So that's what I want to leave them with is that if you want to leave a legacy, it's going to require some work. It's going to require some work. And it ain't going to be easy.
If y'all can't tell him his hype, man, I can't even let him finish a sentence without me in here. Amen. I'm all up in your final comment. I don't normally do that with my guests, but since you're mine, I guess I can do that.
Divided duel. You know what it is. You already know what I'm going to say before I say it.
I know. I love you. I love you so much. And we just want you guys to be encouraged. And today's question was, what type of legacy will you leave? We pray that we leave an honorable legacy for our children and our children's children. I just want to say thank you, to everybody for tuning in. I'm just excited about what God is doing in this season with the She Is Still Dope Network. Like I said, we have chapters all over the globe. If you want to start or join the chapter, reach out and check out our website at sheisstilldope.com. Or you can email local chapters at sheisstilldope.com. We have chapters in Ghana, Uganda, Trinidad, Atlanta, Lancaster, Harrisburg. I mean, just all over. So we're excited about what God is doing in this season. If you would like to sow a seed into our ministry, into this movement, this is a movement. This is a global movement. If you want to sow a seed, Cash App us at She Is Still Dope. It's on the screen. There you go. Donate. If it's $5, guess what? It helps us to get our God's Army tags out to people. Whatever it is, we appreciate it. Cash App, She Is Still Dope, so that we can continue to press this and move this movement forward. We are now on Roku. That costs money. I mean, just so many different things we have going on. We're now on Roku, so add us on Roku. Make sure you do that. If you would like to book me for, I've been doing a lot more speaking lately. I said I wasn't going to do it again, but God is really in control. If you want to book me for a podcast or a transformational speaking event, you can reach out to my agent at book@IMCSBailey or visit my website at imcsbailey.com. Make sure you stop and follow She Is Still Dope on all social platforms at She Is Still Dope. If you have questions, you can email us at hello@sheisstilldope. And again, next week, we'll be finally dropping our new membership community. So many amazing things coming up from She Is Still Dope, like today's Social Media 101 seminar at 4 o'clock. That is free. Tune in at 4 for Social Media 101. And follow She Is Still Dope on all social media platforms. And I think that is really it. I just want to push you guys, to just pray without ceasing, trust God. You don't got to be perfect, but you got to live on purpose. And, like I always say, and in closing, I'm going to close with this. Don't just be dope. It's your girl, csBailey. I'll see you next week.